Here is the intro section in a reusable script format. Scientists may have just uncovered evidence that our solar system is missing an entire planet, not a small asteroid, not a distant moon, a real planet, a massive world hiding in the darkness far beyond Neptune. And the strangest part is that nobody has actually seen it, yet many astronomers believe something is out there, something large enough to pull entire groups of objects across the edge of the solar system, something powerful enough to leave fingerprints across billions of kilometers of space. For decades, most people believed the solar system was a solved puzzle. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, 8 planets, end of story. That is what generations of students learned in classrooms around the world. Astronomers spent centuries mapping the planets, studying their movements, and building a picture of our cosmic neighborhood. By the early 21st century, it seemed like there were very few major surprises left. The solar system appeared familiar, predictable, well understood. Then something unexpected happened. Far beyond Neptune, in a frozen region almost nobody thinks about, scientists started finding strange objects moving through deep space. At first, these discoveries seemed ordinary. The outer solar system is filled with icy bodies left over from its formation billions of years ago. Many of them are small. Many are difficult to detect. Many travel around the sun on unusual paths. Finding another distant object was not shocking. But when astronomers began comparing their orbits, they noticed something that made very little sense. Several of these objects appeared to be following a pattern, not a random pattern, a coordinated one. Their orbits seemed strangely aligned. That should not have happened. According to standard expectations, these distant worlds should point in many different directions. Their paths should look scattered and chaotic. Instead, a surprising number of them appear to be grouped together, almost as if something was organizing them, almost as if an unseen force was shaping their motion. At first, some researchers thought it might be a coincidence. After all, strange patterns sometimes appear in data. Sometimes the human brain sees connections that are not really there. Scientists are trained to be skeptical. They question everything, especially extraordinary claims. But as more data arrived, the mystery refused to disappear. The pattern remained. The numbers became harder to ignore. And the questions grew bigger. Why were these objects behaving this way? What was keeping their orbits aligned? Was there some unknown process happening in the distant solar system? Or was something much larger responsible? That possibility led scientists toward a remarkable idea, an idea that sounded almost impossible. A hidden planet, a giant world orbiting the sun far beyond Neptune. Planet so distant and so faint that no telescope had managed to spot it directly. Yet, despite being invisible, its gravity could still influence everything around it. This proposed world became known as Planet 9. And over the past several years, Planet 9 has evolved from a curious hypothesis into one of the most fascinating mysteries in modern astronomy. The story is not just about finding another planet. It is about understanding whether our picture of the solar system is fundamentally incomplete. It is about discovering whether an entire world has remained hidden from humanity while circling the sun for billions of years. That possibility may sound unbelievable, but there is an important reason why scientists take it seriously. Astronomy has seen something similar before. History contains a remarkable example of a planet being discovered through gravity before anyone actually saw it. Long before powerful modern telescopes existed, astronomers noticed that Uranus was not moving exactly as expected. Its orbit showed small irregularities. Something appeared to be tugging on it. Researchers calculated where an unseen object should be located. When astronomers searched that region of the sky, they found Neptune. A new planet had been discovered because its gravity revealed its presence first. That historical success makes the Planet 9 mystery even more intriguing. Scientists know that gravity can expose hidden objects. A planet does not need to be visible to leave clues behind. Its influence can spread across enormous distances. Its presence can be written into the motion of other worlds. That is exactly why astronomers became interested in those distant icy objects beyond Neptune. The evidence for Planet 9 is indirect. Nobody has photographed it. Nobody has confirmed its existence. Nobody knows exactly where it would be. Yet the clues continue to accumulate. And some of those clues are surprisingly difficult to explain away. T is where the mystery becomes even more interesting, because not all scientists agree. Some researchers argue that Planet 9 is real. Others believe the evidence can be explained without adding a new planet. The debate has become one of the most intense discussions in planetary science. On one side are scientists who think the outer solar system contains a hidden giant world. On the other side are scientists who believe the strange patterns may have another explanation. Both groups are searching for answers. Both groups are analyzing new discoveries. And both groups know that the stakes are enormous. If Planet 9 exists, it could become one of the greatest astronomical discoveries of this century. It could force scientists to rethink how the solar system formed. It could explain mysteries that have puzzled researchers for years. And it could reveal that humanity has been living next to an undiscovered planet all along. In this video, we are going to explore the Strait. Angie, evidence that started this mystery, the unusual objects that caught astronomers by surprise, the hidden clues buried at the edge of the solar system, and the growing search for a world nobody has ever seen. We will also examine the arguments against Planet 9 and why many scientists remain cautious despite the excitement. By the end, you will understand why one of the biggest questions in astronomy today is surprisingly simple. Is our solar system truly complete? Or is a missing planet still waiting to be found? Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy exploring the deepest mysteries of space and the latest scientific discoveries, make sure to subscribe and join us for more journeys into the unknown. Here is the script section. The mystery begins far beyond Neptune. Most people think the solar system ends near the orbit of the 8th planet. In reality, Neptune is not the final frontier. Beyond it lies a vast region filled with frozen objects left over from the birth of the Solar System. This distant zone is known as the Kuiper Belt. It stretches across billions of kilometers of space. It is home to countless icy bodies made of rock, frozen gases, and ancient material that has remained largely unchanged for more than 4 billion years.
Pluto lies here.
So do many other dwarf planets and small worlds. Some of these objects follow relatively stable paths around the sun. Others travel on strange and elongated orbits that carry them far into the darkness. For astronomers, these remote objects are like fossils from the early solar system. They preserve clues about events that happened long before Earth even existed. Finding them is not easy. Most are incredibly small. Many reflect only tiny amounts of sunlight. Some are so distant that they appear as faint points of light barely visible through powerful telescopes, yet astronomers have developed clever ways to track them. Night after night, telescopes photograph the same areas of the sky. Research shares compare these images and look for tiny moving dots among millions of stars. When an object is found, scientists continue observing it for months or even years. Each new observation helps refine its orbit. Gradually, a detailed map of its path around the sun begins to emerge. At first, this process seemed routine. New distant objects were being discovered every year. Each one added another piece to the puzzle. Then something unusual appeared. Several of the most distant known objects shared a strange characteristic. Their orbits seemed to point in roughly the same direction. This may not sound important at first, but for astronomers, it was deeply puzzling. These objects are separated by enormous distances. They do not travel together. They are not connected. And according to standard models, their orbits should be randomly distributed. Think of spinning several arrows into the air. Once they land, they should point in different directions. That is what randomness. Looks like, but these distant objects look different. Too many of them seemed aligned. Too many appeared to be clustered together in space. The odds of this happening by chance seem surprisingly low. Researchers checked the data repeatedly. Was it a mistake? Was there an observational error? Could the telescopes be introducing a hidden bias? The questions multiplied, yet the pattern remained. As more calculations were performed, the mystery became harder to dismiss. Several extreme trans-Neptunian objects, some traveling hundreds of times farther from the sun than Earth, appeared to be following the same invisible rule. Something seemed to be shaping their paths. Something seemed to be guiding their orientation. And the farther scientists looked into the problem, the stranger it became. The pattern suggested that these objects were not acting independently. Instead, they appeared to be responding to a common influence, an unseen force, a hidden source of gravity. Why? This possibility immediately captured attention because astronomers had seen something similar before, Throughout history, gravity has often revealed the existence of objects long before they were directly observed. The idea was both exciting and unsettling. If gravity was responsible, then whatever was creating this pattern had to be massive. Far too massive to be one of the small icy bodies already known. Something large could be lurking in the darkness. Something distant, something that nobody had ever seen. And as scientists began running detailed simulations to test the mystery, a remarkable possibility started to emerge from the data. Here is the next script section. The idea of a hidden planet may sound extraordinary, but astronomers were not making a wild guess. They were following the clues left behind by gravity. Gravity is one of the most powerful tools in astronomy. It can reveal things that telescopes cannot see. A planet does not need to shine brightly to announce its presence. It only needs mass. Everything with mass pulls on everything else. That pull may be small, but over time it can leave clear signs. A slight change in an orbit, a strange movement, a pattern that should not exist. Astronomers have used these clues before. In fact, one of the greatest discoveries in scientific history began exactly this way. During the early 19th century, scientists noticed something odd about Uranus. Its orbit was not behaving exactly as expected. The planet seemed to be drifting slightly from the path predicted by calculations.
The difference was small, but it was real.
Some researchers suspected that another unseen object was pulling on Uranus through gravity. Using mathematics alone, they estimated where this hidden object should be located. Then telescopes were pointed toward that region of the sky.
There it was.
Neptune, a completely new planet. It had been discovered because of its gravitational effects before Enio. Ni had actually seen it. That historical success has never been forgotten. So when astronomers noticed the strange clustering of distant objects beyond Neptune, they naturally considered a similar possibility. Perhaps something large was influencing them. Perhaps another hidden world was lurking in the darkness. This idea gained momentum in 2016 when astronomers proposed what became known as the Planet 9 hypothesis. Their calculations suggested that a massive unseen planet could explain the unusual orbital patterns. The proposed planet would not be a small object. It would likely be far larger than Earth. Current estimates suggest a mass between 5 and 10 times that of our planet. That would make it a true giant among the worlds of the outer solar system. Yet, despite its size, it would remain extremely difficult to detect. The reason is distance. Planet 9 would orbit far beyond Neptune, not slightly farther, not twice as far, potentially hundreds of astronomica. L units from the sun, an astronomical unit is the distance between Earth and the sun. At such extreme distances, sunlight becomes incredibly weak. Even a large planet could appear as nothing more than a faint moving dot. Its journey around the sun would also be astonishingly slow. Earth completes an orbit in 1 year. Neptune takes about 165 years. Planet 9, if it exists, could require 10,000 years or more to complete a single orbit. Entire civilizations could rise and disappear while this world barely moves across the sky. To test the idea, researchers turned to powerful computer simulations. These programs recreated millions of years of solar system evolution. Scientists added a hypothetical giant planet to the models and watched what happened. The results were striking. The distant objects began behaving much like the real ones observed through telescopes. Their orbits clustered together. Their strange alignments emerged naturally. Some simulations even reproduce. Abducted other unusual features found in the outer solar system. The hidden planets seem capable of explaining multiple mysteries at once. That caught the attention of astronomers around the world. Scientists are naturally skeptical. They do not accept extraordinary claims easily. Yet many researchers took Planet 9 seriously because the idea was supported by mathematics, physics, and computer models rather than speculation alone. The evidence was still indirect. No telescope had captured a clear image. No observation had confirmed its existence. But the deeper scientists looked into the data, the more intriguing the possibility became. Then new discoveries beyond Neptune began adding even more pieces to the puzzle. Here is the next script section. As the search continued, something unexpected happened. The mystery refused to fade away. In many scientific investigations, strange patterns disappear when more data becomes available. New observations reveal mistakes circa. Coincidences or hidden biases, that was not happening here. Astronomers kept discovering additional objects in the distant outer solar system. And some of them seemed to strengthen the case for a hidden planet. These newly found worlds were not ordinary objects. Many followed extremely stretched orbits that carried them far beyond Neptune. Some traveled so far from the sun that they spent most of their existence in regions where sunlight is little more than a faint glow. Temperatures there are almost beyond comprehension. The sun itself would appear only as a bright star in the sky. Yet, despite these enormous distances, certain objects continue to display unusual orbital behavior. Researchers noticed that several of them seem to fit the same strange pattern identified earlier. Their orbital alignments appeared connected, not perfectly, not identically, but enough to raise more questions. Then astronomers found something even stranger. A handful of distant objects were moving on highly tilted paths. Instead of orbiting roughly along the same flat plane as most planets, these bodies were tilted at dramatic angles. Some followed trajectories that looked almost unnatural. According to traditional models of solar system evolution, these unusual paths were difficult to explain. The farther scientists investigated, the more anomalies seemed to emerge. Each one by itself might not have been convincing. Together, they formed a growing collection of puzzles. This is where computer simulations became increasingly important. Researchers ran thousands of virtual experiments. They created models of the solar system and tested different scenarios. Some simulations included only the known planets. Others added a hypothetical planet 9. Again and again, a surprising result appeared. When the hidden planet was included, many of the mysterious orbital features began to make sense. The unusual clustering could be reproduced.
The tilted objects could
be explained. Even some of the most extreme orbital behaviors became easier to understand. It was as though one missing piece suddenly helped multiple sections of the puzzle fit together. This possibility excited astronomers because nature often works that way. A single cause can produce many effects. One hidden influence can leave fingerprints across an entire system. Planet 9 seemed capable of doing exactly that. According to some models, its gravity could slowly reshape the architecture of the outer solar system over billions of years. It would not need to collide with anything. It would not need dramatic close encounters.
Its gravitational pull alone could gradually nudge distant objects onto new paths.
Tiny changes would accumulate over immense stretches of time.
A slight shift today,
another shift thousands of years later. Eventually, entire populations of icy worlds could be redirected. Some researchers even proposed that Planet 9 might help explain features of the solar system that appeared unrelated at first glance: orbital clustering, extreme inclinations, strange trajectories, possibly all connected by the same hidden source. This idea was difficult to ignore. Every new object discovered beyond Neptune became another opportunity to test the hypothesis. Sometimes the evidence seemed stronger, sometimes it raised new questions, but the overall mystery remained alive. Years passed, more observations arrived, more calculations were performed, and despite intense scrutiny, the possibility of a massive unseen planet continued to survive. In some ways, that survival was almost as remarkable as the hypothesis itself. Yet there was one major problem standing between theory and discovery. For all the evidence, all the simulations, and all the growing excitement, nobody could actually find the planet. Here is the next script section. At this point, a frustrating question begins to dominate the entire mystery. If Planet 9 is real, where is it? The proposed planet could be several times more massive than Earth. It could be one of the largest worlds in the solar system. So why has nobody seen it? The answer lies in distance, extreme distance. The outer solar system is far larger than most people realize. Neptune orbits the sun at about 30 times Earth's distance. That already seems enormous. But Planet 9 may be hundreds of times farther from the sun than that. Some estimates place it more than 400 astronomical units away. Others suggest it could be even farther. At those distances, the rules begin to change. Sunlight becomes incredibly weak. A planet shines because it reflects light from the sun. The farther an object travels from the sun, the less light reaches it. Then that faint reflected light must travel all the way back to Earth. The brightness drops dramatically. A giant planet that would appear brilliant near Jupiter could become almost invisible in the distant darkness. This is one of the lesser known challenges of astronomy. Large does not always mean easy to find. A mountain-sized object close to Earth would stand out immediately. A planet-sized object at the edge of the solar system can remain hidden for decades. Some researchers believe Planet 9 may be so faint that it blends into the background of countless distant stars and galaxies. Even powerful telescopes could miss it. And there is another problem. Astronomers do not know exactly where to look. The sky is enormous. Planet 9 could be located in a vast region covering thousands of square degrees. Searching that area is a massive undertaking. It is not like finding a single object in a small room. It is more like searching an entire continent for a dark pebble. Large sky surveys have already examined huge portions of the heavens. Advanced observatories have captured millions of images. Scientists have carefully analyzed enormous data sets, yet no confirmed detection has emerged. That fact alone has fueled debate. Some critics argue that a planet this large should already have been found. Supporters of the hypothesis point out that many possible hiding places remain unexplored or only partially studied. The search becomes even more difficult because Planet 9 would move very slowly. Objects close to Earth can change position noticeably in a short period. A distant planet may barely appear to move at all. Its motion against the background stars could be incredibly subtle. Weeks of observations might reveal almost nothing. Months could pass before its movement becomes obvious. This creates a strange situation. Astronomers are not simply looking for a faint object. They are looking for a faint object that moves so slowly it can easily be mistaken for a distant star. Several times, researchers have identified promising candidates, excitement spreads, calculations begin, observations are repeated, then the candidate turns out to be something else. A known object, a distant galaxy, a false lead. The mystery continues. Meanwhile, technology keeps improving. New surveys scan larger portions of the sky. More sensitive instruments collect deeper observations. The search grows more sophisticated every year. Yet, Planet 9 remains elusive, hidden somewhere in a vast ocean of darkness. And that uncertainty has led some scientists to ask an uncomfortable question. Perhaps the reason nobody can find Planet 9 is not because it is hidden. Perhaps the explanation lies somewhere else entirely. Here is the next script section. Despite the excitement surrounding Planet 9, not every astronomer is convinced. In fact, some scientists believe the mysterious planet may not exist at all. That might sound surprising after everything we have discussed. There are strange orbital patterns. There are computer simulations that seem to support the idea. There are multiple clues pointing toward a hidden gravitational influence. Yet, science does not operate on belief. It operates on evidence. And major problem remains. Nobody has actually found the planet. This is where the debate becomes fascinating. Some astronomers argue that the apparent clustering of distant objects may not be as convincing as it first appears. The reason involves something called observational bias. This concept is less dramatic than a hidden planet, but it can be just as important. Telescopes do not observe the entire sky equally. Scientists search certain regions more often than others. Some areas are easier to study. Some are blocked by bright stars. Some receive more attention because of previous discoveries. As a result, the objects astronomers find may not represent the full population that actually exists. A pattern can sometimes emerge simply because researchers are looking in specific places. This creates a difficult challenge. If observations are incomplete, the resulting picture may be incomplete as well. Several scientists have argued that the clustering effect could be exaggerated by these limitations. According to this view, more discoveries might eventually reveal a much more random distribution. The mystery would disappear without requiring a hidden planet. There are other competing explanations too. One proposal suggests that the outer solar system may contain many smaller objects working together rather than a single giant planet. Instead of one massive world shaping distant orbits, there could be a large collection of icy bodies collectively producing subtle gravitational effects. Another possibility is that scientists are still missing important details about the distant solar system itself. This region remains one of the least explored parts of our cosmic neighborhood. There may be processes operating there that researchers do not yet fully understand. New discoveries could reveal unexpected mechanisms capable of influencing orbital behavior. Then, there is the simplest explanation of all: coincidence. Sometimes nature produces patterns that appear meaningful but arise entirely by chance. Human beings are exceptionally good at spotting patterns. In many situations, that ability is useful. In science, however, it can sometimes become a trap. Researchers must constantly guard against seeing connections that are not actually there. That is why skepticism plays such a crucial role. Every idea must survive intense testing. Every claim must face criticism. Every explanation must compete against alternatives. This process is not a weakness of science. It is one of its greatest strengths. Some of the most important discoveries in history survived years of scrutiny before finally being accepted. Others collapsed when better evidence arrived. Planet 9 now sits directly in the middle of that process. Supporters continue gathering new data. Critics continue challenging the assumptions behind the hypothesis. Both sides against. Analyze the same observations. Both sides run simulations. Both sides search for weaknesses in their own arguments and those of their opponents. Years after the hypothesis was first proposed, the debate remains active because neither side has delivered a final answer. The evidence is intriguing enough to keep the idea alive. The uncertainty is significant enough to keep scientists cautious. And until a hidden planet is either discovered or ruled out, one extraordinary question continues to hang over the outer solar system. If the mystery is eventually solved, the outcome could reshape our understanding of how our planetary system was built from the very beginning. Here is the final body section. Now comes the most exciting part of the entire mystery. Suppose Planet 9 is eventually found. Suppose a telescope finally detects a faint moving object exactly where the calculations predict. Suppose the evidence becomes undeniable. The impact would be enormous. It would immediately become one of the greatest astronomical of the 21st century, not because
scientists found another planet,
but because they found a planet hiding in our own solar system. That distinction matters. Astronomers discover planets around distant stars all the time. Thousands of exoplanets have already been identified across the galaxy. Yet discovering a completely new major planet orbiting our own sun would be something entirely different. It would reveal that even our cosmic backyard still contains major secrets. More importantly, Planet 9 could help answer questions that have puzzled scientists for decades. The solar system did not always look the way it does today. When it formed more than 4.5 billion years ago, it was a chaotic place filled with gas, dust, collisions, and migrating worlds. Many researchers believe the giant planets moved significantly during their early history. Jupiter shifted position. Saturn migrated. Uranus and Neptune.
distances before settling into their current orbits. This process is known as planetary migration.
It helped shape the solar system we see today. Yet many details remain uncertain. A hidden giant planet could force scientists to revise parts of these models. Its existence might reveal that the early solar system was even more dynamic than researchers currently believe. Some theories suggest Planet 9 may have formed closer to the sun before being thrown outward through powerful gravitational interactions. A dramatic event like that could explain why it now occupies such a distant orbit. But another possibility is even more astonishing. Planet 9 may not have formed around our sun at all. Some researchers have explored the idea that it could be a captured planet. Billions of years ago, the sun was born inside a crowded stellar nursery alongside many neighboring stars. Young stars often pass relatively close to one another under the right condition. Ishan's gravity can steal objects from nearby systems. If that happened, Planet 9 could be an alien world, a planet born around another star and later captured by our sun. The odds may be low. The evidence remains uncertain, but the possibility adds another layer of mystery to an already remarkable story. Its discovery could also explain several long-standing puzzles in the outer solar system. The strange clustering of distant objects, the unusual orbital tilts, the peculiar paths followed by some icy worlds. Features that currently appear disconnected might suddenly make sense as parts of a larger picture. Scientists often search for simple explanations capable of solving multiple mysteries at once. Planet 9 remains one of the few ideas that appears capable of doing exactly that. And perhaps the most profound consequence would be psychological. For generations, humanity has viewed the solar system as a known place. The planets seemed counted. The map appeared company. Complete, a confirmed Planet 9 would change that perception overnight. The boundaries of our planetary family would suddenly expand. Textbooks would be rewritten. New missions would be proposed. Fresh questions would emerge. Instead of closing a mystery, the discovery might open an entirely new chapter of exploration. Because once a hidden world is finally found, the next question becomes even more intriguing. How many other secrets are still waiting in the darkness beyond the planets we already know? Here is the conclusion section. After years of research, the mystery of Planet 9 remains one of the most fascinating puzzles in modern astronomy. The evidence is difficult to ignore. Distant objects beyond Neptune appear to follow unusual patterns. Some travel along strange paths. Others seem connected by invisible forces acting across billions of kilometers of space. Again and again, the clues point toward the same possibility. A massive hidden world may be shaping the outer solar system. Yet there is one reason the mystery remains unsolved. Nobody has seen the planet. Not a single telescope has captured a confirmed image. Not a single observation has settled the debate. Everything rests on indirect evidence, on mathematics, on simulations, on the subtle pull of gravity. And that may be the most remarkable part of this story. Gravity is acting like a messenger from the darkness. It may be revealing the presence of something that remains completely hidden from view. Astronomers have followed these clues before. That is how Neptune was discovered. Today, researchers are following another trail. This time, the destination remains uncertain. The search continues across enormous regions of the sky. New surveys are collecting more data every year. More powerful observatories are coming online. Future telescopes may finally reveal whether Planet 9 is real or whether another explanation is waiting to be discovered. Either outcome would be extraordinary. If Planet 9 exists, it would become one of the greatest astronomical discoveries of our time. If it does not, scientists will still need to explain the strange behavior of the objects at the edge of the solar system. The mystery would remain, only the answer would change. That is why this story is far from over. Right now, somewhere beyond Neptune, the evidence points towards something we still do not fully understand. Perhaps it is a giant hidden planet. Perhaps it is something even stranger. And until the final answer arrives, humanity may be living inside a solar system that contains a world we have never seen. If you enjoyed this journey into one of the biggest mysteries in space, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more discoveries, theories, and cosmic secrets. For now, one question remains suspended in the darkness beyond the known planets. Is Planet 9 hiding in the shadows of the solar system, or are those distant grandfathers avocational clues leading us toward a completely different mystery?